Should you be blogging as an author? That is the big question I'm going to be answering in this video. I'm going to be breaking down into two sections. I can give you two reasons why you shouldn't blog, and then the other side of the coin, I can give you two reasons or case scenarios where you would consider blogging. But if you're new here, I'm Denny with Weekend Publisher, and on this channel I talk all about how to publish and profitably promote and market your self-published books. If that sounds good to you or sounds interesting to you, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like this video, and if you find it valuable at all, a like would be incredible as well. Now, the first reason why you shouldn't blog is because of traffic or the difficulty in getting traffic. Now, I see this happen just all too often. An author, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, I'll talk about each of them sort of throughout this video, but whether it be fiction or nonfiction, they start a blog and they have a post on January 1st, let's say. Then they have a post on January 7th, then they have a post on January 14th, and then they're not getting any traction, they're not getting any traffic, nobody's reading it, so it slowly starts to fall off. Then there's a post on February 28th, then there's a post on April saying, oh, sorry, I've been away from this blog for so long, and then it's just dead. So that is one of the big concerns. And then you spend all this time in setting up the blog and actually writing it and editing in it and all that sort of stuff, and it turns out just to be a big waste of time. So traffic is a big thing, and there's two ways that you can get traffic. One way, and I'll talk about this in the do's, advocating why you should start a blog, but one way is SEO, or search engine optimization. Now, I'm very familiar with SEO. I've started several websites myself just based purely off of SEO, and I've exchanged a lot of services with people in the past to help boost their rankings in Google, and that's what SEO is boosting their rankings in Google. So that's one way you can get traffic, is organically through Google. That involves, like I said, SEO, search engine optimization, and that's a big thing to learn. That's not just, you pick up a few things here and there and you could be okay. No, that's a big rabbit hole that you have to go down. So I don't recommend that, because it doesn't normally have a good return on time investment, return on your investment of time for that. And then another way you can get it is just off of your following. If you're just starting out and you don't have a big following, then you're not going to get much traffic. So you are going to more than likely just be wasting your time. And that's one thing we want to avoid. And that leads me into the second reason why not to blog, is that time can be better spent writing another book or writing an incentive for someone to sign up to your email list so you can build that following. Or it could be better spent in just writing emails to your list to nurture those relationships, to build your ARC team, to build your beta readers, and to build up a following to make that next launch even better. And before we get into the reasons why you should start a blog, I just want to make the difference, or I want to separate a blog versus a website. I definitely do recommend a website if you're an author, and I talk all about this in Catch a Unicorn, Demystifying Book Marketing for Fiction Authors, which I'll link down below. And I'm going to be doing videos about this in the future on this YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe. So but I definitely do recommend a website, or at least at minimum a landing page where you can capture people's email addresses, and there's a bunch of really low cost or free ways to do that. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe. But blogging is separate in terms of where you give everyone updates on your writing or what you discover and so on. All right, let's get into the two reasons why you should, or why you would consider blogging. One reason is you're a nonfiction author and you want to start a business around the topic of your book. So say you wrote a book about gardening and you want to take it further. You maybe want to take it to the next level. You want to turn this into a whole business. Then blogging I would recommend. Like I mentioned before, you will have to get into SEO, or search engine optimization, in which case there's a lot of free resources on YouTube to get into that, to start discovering how to get into that. Again, it's going to need a lot of commitment as well to be able to start ranking on Google. You need some age. You need at least, sort of the standard is 8 months of blogging, and minimum of 30 articles. So if you are going to start it, have the intention of you're going to be writing you're going to be writing 30 articles or blog posts, and you're going to need to wait at least 8 months before you start seeing results. But with a nonfiction book, I do recommend it. And the second reason, or better put, is case scenario where you would consider blogging, and this is for fiction and nonfiction authors, is if you're doing a guest blog. Now, I would not recommend paying to do guest blogging on other websites. There's a lot of blogs out there, writing blogs, specific to genres, a fantasy writing blog or a sci-fi writing blog, where they accept articles for free. So do your research, look up different websites. A good way to get started with this is just go into Google, type in your genre, and then guest blogging. And that way you can start getting your feet wet using someone else's platform. Make sure you read, because a lot of them have very strict protocols or very strict criteria, and certainly with quality and stuff that they want. But this is a really good way to sort of get your feet wet into the idea of blogging when you have a following. And before I wrap up, I'm going to give you a third reason why you should blog, sort of a bonus reason. And that reason is because you just want to do it. And there's not, I know with me, I can get so caught up in, okay, well, is this going to give me an ROI? Like, is this going to give me a good return on investment based on my time and money and so on? But there's this other factor that it's really hard to quantify is, do I want to like sort of document my process in a public way or a private way? It doesn't really matter. Do I want to document my process? This is a big deal for a lot of people to write their first book or to write a book. So documenting the process for future generations or whatever, or maybe to help another author or two. I think, again, it's hard to quantify that. So if you really do want to start a blog, 95% of the cases, I don't recommend someone doing it. But if you really, really do want to, just know that it's going to be tough at first, really tough at first. You're going to have very little in terms of people actually reading it until you start building up your author following. And your chances of actually selling books from blogging is going to be very slim, especially at first. For the first 6 months, do not expect to sell a book through your blog. Absolutely not. It's something that's going to be a long process, and that's why I talked about one of the reasons why not to is because the amount of time and effort you can put into your blog, you could have written another whole book or two. So you really have to decide, is this something I really want to do for me, given I know that it's not going to give me a return on investment. But like I said, I'm not really the best person for this, because I'm all about it. Does this give me a proper ROI? But if you really want to do it, jump in. So there you have it. Those are 2 reasons why you shouldn't, and 2 reasons why maybe you should, plus an extra bonus reason. Have you started a blog as an author? What was your experience? Were you considering like starting a blog until you watch this video? And are you having some second thoughts? Let me know by commenting down below. Like this video if you found it useful. Subscribe if you want to see more like this, and I'll see you in the next one.